Some games are worth beating normally, while some games are worth seeing the whole thing. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the 10 best games worth getting 100%. Starting off with number 10, it's Ghost of Tsushima, an open world game that really just does it right. There's tons of stuff to find, there's tons of base to clear out, but not so much that it feels like a chore. I personally had a ton of fun playing through this game, and going back and clearing out the remaining points on the map is a good way to hang out in the beautiful world for a little bit longer. What's great about this game is you don't need a guide to get 100% in it. There's so many things in the game that will guide you to collectibles like birds and foxes. There's even a costume you can wear that makes it easier to detect stuff in the environment. Eventually the game just lets you buy an upgrade that reveals where all the collectibles and side missions are, which makes the remaining collectibles a lot easier to find. The actual reward for getting 100% really isn't anything too special, just a die for the ghost armor, but in this case, the process of getting 100% is so fun and seamless that it just wins out. Ghost of Tsushima is just a really fun game, and it's one of the few open world games where clearing the map is actually fun and not a mind-numbing chore. Like a lot of PlayStation open world games are pretty good about this. People also really like getting 100% in games like Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, but for me personally, I think Ghost is probably the best of those three, at least in terms of getting 100% in it. Those two games do have some tedious stuff they force you to do, while Ghost just doesn't. The ease of which you can do it, and even the so-so reward you get for doing it, doesn't make it not worthwhile though. It's just such an enjoyable experience that none of that really matters. At number 9 is the Final Fantasy VII Remake, another recent-ish game that just does completion right. Like in some ways, getting 100% is the real game here. What makes it so great to go back to and try to finish is the fact that the game unlocks a chapter select after you beat it, which makes going back to certain sections of the game a cinch. What's even better is how easy that specific thing is. You can open up chapter select whenever you want and travel between chapters without losing progress, so you can do whatever you need to do and then just move on to something else immediately. Some of the things it wants you to do are a little tedious, like getting every dress variant for Cloud or completing every side story, but the big things like doing the Shinra VR challenges are actually a lot of fun. The main challenge is just completing the game on hard, however. It only becomes available after you beat the game, and for most games that'd be a pretty tedious requirement, but for this game it actually does add a lot to the experience. Along with the normal things you'd expect from a hard mode like tougher enemies, the game also makes it so that you can't use items like in any situation, you just can't use them at all. So that completely changes how you play the game. You gotta adopt different strategies to deal with enemies, and especially to survive the longer dungeons. Like, a lot of people swear by this mode and say that it's the way the game was intended to be played. That's how much they like it. This is a game where there isn't really much of a reward for completion, but it's all worthwhile to do, especially if you love the world of Final Fantasy VII. At number 8 is the Metroid Prime series. This is the king of collection games. Getting 100% completion in these games is something that a lot of people at the time really went for, even back when they didn't really reward you for doing it. For this entry on the list, I'm going to focus on the Prime games, because while you could get everything in the older games, the main goal was basically to finish the game as fast as possible. That's what affected the ending screen, whereas with Prime, they changed it so that it's purely about completion, not speed. So there's more of an incentive to try to find everything rather than just rush through the game as fast as possible. With the Metroid Prime games, getting 100% would unlock a post-credit scene, usually a kind of teaser for the next game. Not like a huge reward, but it does feel significant. But most importantly, getting everything in these games is enjoyable. Exploring the environments, scanning enemies and objects for more lore about the world, it's just satisfying. The first Metroid Prime game has some infamous enemies that can be permanently missed if you don't scan them quick enough, which is really annoying, but the other two games are a little bit better about stuff like that. That's the main thing here. It's just fun to find everything in these games. The world is really dense and filled with lots of secrets, and it's awesome to uncover everything. It's fun to go back and just fully experience the environment, and the games themselves are some of the best out there. If you can get it, the Metroid Prime Collection is probably the best way to experience these days. It's a little pricey these days, but it is worth it. Nintendo, release the trilogy on Switch already. Come on. At number 7 is Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury. Most Mario games are fun to get 100% completion in. Getting all 120 stars in 64 unlocks Yoshi. There's the Grandmaster Galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy. There's tons of good stuff to get in these games. And for me, the most recent, probably the best game to get 100% in is surprisingly Bowser's Fury. Yeah, the little bonus game added on with the re-release of Super Mario 3D World. There are a lot of factors that make it really fun to complete. First, it's short. It's a lot of fun. And if you get every cat shrine in the game, you unlock a final battle with Bowser. Bowser. Basically, getting 100% is the entire point of the game. Thankfully, they made it very fun to do. It's got the tight controls you'd expect from a Mario game at this point. It's got a charming world to explore, and it doesn't really take that long. The whole thing only takes a handful of hours to finish, so it's absolutely possible, and it's satisfying as hell to finally beat down Fury Bowser after he's been harassing you the entire game. It's 100% that's short, sweet, and just a lot of fun to do. And number 6 is Red Dead Redemption 1. Unlike 2, which is a massive pain to 100% and takes like a super long time to complete, Red Dead Redemption 1 is pretty uncomplicated actually. That's not to say it isn't challenging, because it absolutely is. But as far as open world games go, it is pretty doable, especially for a Rockstar game. On top of completing all the main missions and the stranger missions, you also have to go to every location on the map, hunt down every bounty target, clear all the gang hideouts, and obtain all 13 properties. You also have to complete all the challenges, which actually isn't that bad in this game. The most time consuming is probably the treasure hunter challenges, where you have to find all the buried treasure, but even that's kind of fun if you don't mind following some clues. For all your trouble, you actually get a pretty good reward too, the Bureau uniform, which makes you totally immune to the law. You can basically do whatever you want, and the law completely leaves you alone. Out of all the Rockstar games out there, it's probably the most rewarding and fun to complete at 100%. It's a fun excuse to do some of the side content like Liar's Dice or Hunt's Treasure, and it doesn't force you to do a lot of the tedious stuff as well. What more can we say? The original Red Dead Redemption is still one of the best games ever, and any excuse to explore its world a little bit more is worth it. And number 5 is Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Yeah, it's a roguelike we're talking about here. And unlike a lot of stuff on this list, getting 100% is a massive ordeal and very challenging to actually accomplish. But even though it's nearly impossible for the normal person to do it, it is still absolutely worth at least trying to get 100%. For Binding of Isaac players, getting the real Platinum God save file is kind of a rite of passage. It's something that anybody who's really into this game has to do. How it works is a giant checklist of challenges that change how you play the game, and when you finish them, you unlock a kind of special item. On top of that, you need to get every ending in the game, and there is a lot of them, as well as collect every item. Completing a challenge will unlock an item, but you need it to collect in the game for it to actually count towards completion. There's a lot more to it, but those are the main things. Just a ton of content in this game, and it captures the just one more game mentality that a good roguelike brings to the table. It is addictive and fun as hell, even when it's super frustrating, so if you really like the game, there's no better challenge than trying to finish all of it. Not a lot of people will actually accomplish it, but it's worth a short try either way, even if just to see all the messed up stuff that the game will increasingly throw at you. Number 4 is Yakuza 0. Like Binding of Isaac, actually getting the 100% completion in this game is a huge undertaking and not for the casual fan, but actually doing it is incredibly satisfying. You don't even really get anything for doing it, but doing it is really satisfying. It's just such a great game with so much bonus content that you can completely ignore, and it feels right to at least try to experience all of it. Like, there's so much in this game. There's a casino, arcades, pocket circuit races, the darts, pool. You can play shogi and go to the batting cages. There's mahjong and fishing and karaoke. There's just so much stuff that it is totally insane, and it's all high quality content. You can completely ignore all of this and just play through the main story, but you will miss out on a ton of genuinely good stuff if you do. Pretty much any Yakuza game is worth getting 100% in. I just picked 0 because it's kind of my personal favorite, but actually getting that coveted 100% completion save is not gonna be easy. In fact, it's really hard and time consuming, but you get a lot more out of the game if you at least try. And number 3 is Hollow Knight, a game with a massive world, tons of secrets, and a surprising amount of stuff to do. There are weapon upgrades to find, mask shards, nail arts, and all kinds of movement upgrades that you'd expect in a Metroid-style game, but on top of that, there are these incredibly brutal challenges that only the best players are able to complete. There aren't any specific rewards for that 100% completion in this game either, but this is another game where just exploring the world, finding secrets, discovering new things is, pretty much its own reward. The reason for that is there's just a ton of stuff to find. The amount of secret little things in this game is almost hard to count. There is so much of it, and almost all of it is unique in some way and definitely interesting. Of course, if you want to see the ultimate secret ending, you pretty much have to get 100% anyway. The hardest to get secret ending can only be viewed when you hit the Pantheon of Hollowness, a brutal boss rush where you fight every boss in the whole game. That's 42 bosses in a row. So yeah, most people aren't going to see this thing unless they YouTube it. Yeah, we're using YouTube as a verb today, but ignoring that, this is just all around one of the most rewarding and fun games to explore. There's just so much to find and see, and trying for 100% is just an excuse to see all of it. Plus, it's Hollow Knight, it's fun as hell. And number 2 is Spyro 2. If there's one series where fans say that the main point of the games is to collect everything, it is this one. The 3 Spyro games on the PS1 are fairly short, aren't overloaded with collectibles, and if you do manage to get everything, they usually give you a pretty awesome reward. Spyro 2 is probably the best out of all of them. When you've got nearly everything, that's 8,000 gems and 55 orbs, you'll unlock a secret level called Dragon Shores, which is, amusingly, the place Spyro was originally trying to get at the start of the game. It's an amusement park filled with mini games and fun stuff to do, and an awesome reward for finding most of the collectibles in the game. The final bonus isn't actually quite as cool as unlocking a new level, but it's still pretty great. If you get absolutely everything, 10,000 gems and 64 orbs, you unlock a permanent power-up. Now you have the Super Flame power up forever, even if you start a new game. Like, all the Spyro games have something like this, bonus levels that give you something fun to do after collecting everything. But it's not just the great reward that makes these games worth 100%ing, it's the fact that these games are just fun. It's not really frustrating to do the 100%, they rarely hide stuff in annoying spots, and it doesn't take that long to do, and the reward's usually really satisfying. The recently released Spyro Collection is genuinely one of the best remakes out there, and even though these games are pretty basic nowadays, they remain some of the most fun games to get 100% in. And finally, NieR Replicant. Here's another game where getting 100% completion is basically the point. It's another one where you don't actually have to do everything to get 100% as well. Only thing that really matters is that you collect all the weapons, which is good because if you had to do everything in this game, like the fishing, the side quests, and stuff like that, this would not be showing up on the list. That stuff is way too tedious. But forget all that, what makes NieR one of the best games to 100% is how much it rewards you for sticking with it. There is no denying that this game asks a lot from you. Like, you gotta beat the game at least 3 times minimum to see the game, and that's if you already know what to do. Because the big thing with NieR is that after you beat the game the first time, the story changes. It's not major, but playing the game again reveals a lot of what's actually going on in the story. Playing it for a 3rd time and finding every weapon in the game, you'll unlock an entirely new ending. In one of the most ballsy moves in gaming history, if you want to see ending D, you have to delete your save file. Yet this game makes you get 100% in it and then tells you to delete it, and it is not joking. If you choose to delete, that save file is gone for good. I mean, unless you backed it up in some way. I don't know. With the new remake, there's actually even more to find after that, but I don't want to spoil too much. Basically, NieR is a game you really want to get 100%. There's few games out there that reward you as much as this one does for going that extra mile. Yes, it can get a little tedious, and you probably want a guide to find all the weapons, but the extra endings, especially the new one added with the remake, make this one of the most rewarding games ever to complete. That's all for today. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a good time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications, and as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameRanks.